I don't know if you guys follow this amazing cartoon on Instagram, not a cartoon, a comic rather. Comic on Instagram called as The Awkward Yeti. The Awkward Yeti mostly talks about the conversations between the brain and the heart. And the brain wants to do something very intelligent, but the heart wants to pursue something very mediocre. And this is the constant struggle that's there between the two. So there is this one, comic where the brain looks at saying that, look, we need to take up this intelligent path. But the heart, on the other hand, says, no, you need to sleep, you need to rest. So there are many comics like this on the Awkward Yeti, where it's a conversation between the brain and the heart, where the heart wants to pursue something mediocre, while the brain wants to pursue something more intelligent. Now, this is most of us, where one side of us wants to pursue something intelligent, while the other side, the mediocre side, wants us to pursue something mediocre, something very basic. Like, think of it like this. When I visit the gym every morning, I see that most of the people want to choose the cardio equipment. The cardio equipment for them is the easier option. For example, if you're a person who's in fact walking on the treadmill, you have an option to increase the pace of the treadmill at the decimal point. So if you're starting to walk at 4 kilometers an hour speed, you can increase it to 4.1, 4.2, and so on. But on the other side, the more challenging side, which is the weight section, you cannot increase weights in such a small incremental value. For example, in the gym where I work out, the lowest weight that's there is 2.5 kilos. Now, 2.5 kilos is the lowest weight, and the next weight after that is 5. So you can see from 2.5 to 5, there is a jump in the weight by about 50%. Now, a 50% jump in the weight versus 4 kilometers an hour to 4.1 kilometers an hour. That's the next incremental value. So you can see here why they choose the easier route. Even for something like the cycling, it's entirely controlled by your feet, so you can decide how fast you want to pedal or how slow you want to pedal. But the weight section, the weights are in control of you and you are not so much in control of the weights. The weights don't get to decide to be lighter or heavier depending on your mood, but cardio can be fluctuated to that extent. And hence, you see many of them choose the mediocre path or the easier path, that is the cardio. Now, I'm not against cardio. I'm simply saying that cardio is a lot easier for people to do simply because there are easier options in cardio than there is easier options in the weight section. So this is the reason why many people would choose the easier path, that is the cardio section. But look at the every other aspect of life that you see here. If you're in Bangalore and the most common breakfast item I see people prepare is chitraanna. And I honestly loathe chitraanna. I can't tell you how much I hate it. And the reason why many people prefer to make something like that, or upma or uppittu, is simply because it's the easiest breakfast option there is. The other side, for example, if someone wants to prepare a dosa or idli, it's never an immediate preparation, it's a previous night job. So this is another example of why people want to choose the mediocre path, simply because it's the easier thing to do. Now, the question comes as to why do people want to choose the mediocre path? And the answer to that is simply because of the environment that you are surrounded in. Now, I remember if I'm out with some group of friends, half the time we discuss about, girlfriends, women, this what guys mostly talk about. And most of the time, the conversations that we have is never really something intelligent. It's mostly something which is goofy in nature. The conversations, on the other hand, I have with my cousin Vikram is mostly about superheroes and mythology, and it tends to be a very intelligent conversation. I do not have any memory of discussing things like girlfriends and, who's the person you're dating, all that. And it's not really a conversation that we would ever have in length. It's always going to be something about superheroes. It's always going to be something about mythology. And to give you an idea as to how intelligent the conversations are when I have with Vikram, there was one time where I was talking with him where he asked me something about the Mahabharata, and he said, "Hey, have you ever wondered that in Kurukshetra, when you are the cavalry person and you see the infantry person there in front of you, imagine how terrified the infantry person guy would be because you're charging at him in a horse. Now, a horse would be running at 40 kilometers an hour, so you can compare that to a small car. Now, how a person who's been, standing in line there and he has to face something that's charging at him at 40 kilometers an hour. So he made my imagination work in such a way that I felt like I was in Kurukshetra and I had to imagine that a guy on a horse with a very heavy weapon is in fact charging towards me. Now, the conversation led to many other discussions, like we ended up talking about how food must have been managed in Kurukshetra and how, the housing must have been there for the elephants and the horses and the infantrymen, all that. Now, this is where the conversation took a completely intelligent turn. It took a very analytical take on things. Now, this is an example of how your physical environment, the people around you can influence you as to how you want to think on a mediocre factor or do you want to think on a more intelligent factor. The reason why many of us have mostly mediocre lives is because we are surrounded by mostly mediocre people. When I was working in a call center job, the people around me didn't really have any strong ambitions in life. They all felt that, okay, this is a comfortable 9 to 5 job. I do not see why I should stretch beyond my comfort zone. Many of them didn't even know what is the work that they were doing. And that is something that was inculcated in me for a long time because I felt the same way too. I felt, okay, this job is going to give me a comfortable life. It's not going to give me a very well-off life. And that led to me taking up a mediocre path for a long time. This is an output of my environment. And we as human beings are easily influenced by our environment. Take, for example, a situation like a habit like smoking. I do not see people randomly walk into a shop and say that, hey, I'm going to start taking up smoking today, so I will go and purchase a cigarette. The way people, in fact, take up smoking is because my friend has taken up smoking and he's going to give me a tobacco stick and he's going to tell me, dude, try this. It's not going to be a situation where we all go out and say that, yeah, we're going to try smoking for the first time. It's always going to be a product of your environment. So you look at people in an environment, and if you wonder why mostly people are mediocre, it's because of the environment that is around them that causes them to be mediocre. Mediocrity puts us in a comfort zone, and as in the previous video that I've stated, your brain loves to be in the comfort zone. It loves to minimize the amount of energy output. It always loves to conserve energy. And being in a mediocre environment allows us to conserve a large amount of energy. Again, going back to popular belief, many people work out in the cardio section thinking that cardio section is going to make us fit. Partly true. The cardio section is easy. A lot of people will be there around there. Hence, you see, the product of your environment influences you to be mediocre. So, to summarize, before I in fact conclude, check out the Awkward Yeti comics on Instagram or on Facebook. They are some of the best comics I've ever read. It is a remarkable way to understand the human brain and the human body. So anyway, folks, if you ever find a state of mediocrity, realize the people around you are a large cause for that mediocrity. They have this belief that I choose to be mediocre, so therefore even you should choose to be mediocre. And it's okay to cut out people in your life who put you in a zone where they bring you into mediocrity. So anyway, folks, thank you for listening to me. Do like, share, and subscribe. And as always, have a nice day. See you guys